In this video we'll discuss how you can create a Viewbox control that displays a star rating that supports half stars. So you can see here we have a Viewbox over here that is displaying the star rating, but unlike the standard Viewbox control that displays a star rating that you can create, we've got one here that supports half stars. So you can see that if I click on the left of the center of the star, we get a half star rating. So if I click to the left there, you get a half star, and if you click to the right, you get a full star. So this control here is one of the samples that you can use when you build a new Viewbox control. So when you create a Viewbox control, you can see here we have load sample Viewboxes, and one of the samples that we have is a star rating with support for half stars. So in this video we're going to go behind the scenes and explain exactly how this particular Viewbox implements the half star rating pattern. So before we actually get into this, there's a little bit of background that I'd like to cover first. So first of all, in order to implement this half star pattern here, we need to be using the alpha theme, and the reason that we need the alpha theme is because the alpha theme has built into it an icon for a half star. So you'll see here that if I go here to insert an image, and then I bring up the image selector and we go to SVG icons, and then we'll go here and filter on star, you'll see there's basically the half star is one of the built-in icons that the alpha theme supports. The other thing that I'd like to discuss before we actually get into the video is one of the functions in the alpha JavaScript library called a5.u.icon.html, and this is a helper function that makes it very easy to use either SVG icons, CSS icons, or regular bitmap icons in HTML. And this particular function here takes the definition of an icon and generates the appropriate HTML. So to demonstrate that function in use, I'm going to go here to Firebug, to the console window here in Firebug, and demonstrate these various functions. So I'm going to just go there and comment out these two here. So you can see here basically we've specified the name of an SVG icon over there using the syntax. So this is the name of the SVG icon, and when I run this code here, you can see that basically, oops, let me just go here and put in a semicolon over there, and you can see now that basically what this function returns is the HTML that would be necessary to render an SVG icon over there. So this is the HTML that function returns. If we go here and execute this next version, this is a CSS icon. If I go there and press run, this is the HTML that this function returns, which is the HTML that is needed to display a CSS icon. And then if I uncomment this last version here where we've specified an actual bitmap image, and we go there and say run, you'll see in this case we get the HTML that is returned is an image, and you can see that this HTML function here takes a second optional argument, which is the inline style. So we've got here an image with source bitmap.png and then an inline style specified by the second argument. So this is also one of the essential building blocks of this Viewbox pattern. So let's go back now to the actual Viewbox itself and see how it was defined. So the first thing that we'll take a look at here is we'll notice that the actual template for the Viewbox basically references temp.value. So temp.value is the actual value of the Viewbox control. So recall that the Viewbox is a data-bound control, which means that the Viewbox has a value that can be set by set value, and a Viewbox has a value that can be read by the .getValue method, and temp.value is a reference to the Viewbox's current value. So let's pause here and pick this up in the next video. So we're continuing now with the description of how the half star pattern is implemented in the Viewbox, and we can look here, we can see that in the HTML template for the Viewbox layout, we are referencing temp.value. So temp.value is the actual value of the Viewbox control. So recall that the Viewbox control is a data bound control. In other words, it exists here in this data control section, which means that the viewbox has a value that can be read by using the .getValue method, or a value that can be set by using the .setValue method, and that internally, when the template for the viewbox is being rendered, we can reference the value of the viewbox by using square bracket temp.value. So inside the template itself, we are just using standard functionality in the client-side templating library that Alpha supports. So here we have an if statement that is determining which icon to display, and we're using the SVG icon syntax over here to display one of the icons in the Alpha theme, and then we're applying the class of star to that icon. So the star class is defined over here. So this is defining the fill color and the stroke color for the icon, which was the blue color that you saw when we rendered the icon. So the actual layout is all defined over here, and the template here defines whether the full star or the half star or the unfilled star is displayed. Then you can also see here that when we click on the first star, or in fact when we click on any of the stars, we are going to invoke the item called star click with a value of either 1 or 2 or 3. So if we go now to the items tab, we can see that in the items tab over here, we've got our code that says get the value of the A5-value attribute. So this is going to be this number. It's going to be either 1, 2 or 3, and then we need to determine whether the user clicked to the left of the center point or the right of the center point. So arguments 4 is a pointer to the element that the user clicked on, and get coordinates, this function from the Alpha library here, gives you the coordinates of the element that the user clicked on. So using this, we can determine whether the user clicked to the left of the center point or the right of the center point, and then we want to actually set the value of the viewbox so that the viewbox value is based on this calculation over here. So we call the .setValue method to actually set the value of the viewbox, and then we call the refresh method to re-render the HTML. So the final thing that I'd like to point out is that if we go to the viewbox properties, we can see that we've got allow any value turned on, and we've also got auto refresh when the viewbox value changes. And the reason that we have that set is that because this is a data bound control, the value of this control can be set using the .setValue method. And if we do set the value of the viewbox control using .setValue, in other words, we're setting the value of the viewbox control from outside the viewbox, not from the user actually tapping on a star, we want to make sure that the viewbox gets re-rendered to display correctly. So every time the value of the viewbox is changed by using a .setValue method, because this property is checked here, we're going to cause the viewbox to re-render. So basically this is what's going on behind the scenes, and you can see now if we go back to running the viewbox, if I tap over there, we're tapping on the left hand side of the center point, so we highlight the fourth star using the half star icon over there. So the viewbox makes it quite easy to implement the half star pattern as we've shown here. Thanks very much for watching.